Hello and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. And today we have two special guests. We have Mayor McGee here with us. Second time here? Third time here?
I've been here a few times. Glad to be back. Great to be with you this morning.
First time for her, Miss Faustina Cuevas, the
Thank
diversity and inclusion, equity, inclusion. I always get those confused, but y'all get what I'm saying. We're here to talk about her new role and everything going on. How are you all doing?
Good.
Good. Doing well. Thank you for having us today.
Yeah.
Not a problem. First, Mayor McGee, let's talk about this diversity. Diversity been a big topic since you came into office for a while, and now with this position that you guys opened up and appointed Faustina. Can you just talk about everything that went into putting this together?
Well, I think from the beginning of my term, we really wanted to focus on changing the dynamic in city government and diversifying our workforce and embracing our diversity in our community, which has always been our greatest strength, the diversity that we have in the city of Lynn. And as the latest census shows, that continues to be a big piece of who we are as a community. And so that has been a priority of mine and my team throughout my administration. But as we had the George Floyd murder and the really challenging things that happened last year that really put a real spotlight on the importance of our diversity, but more importantly, addressing the concerns in our community to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to be part of our community and part of city government. And it's broader than that, really. It's but early on with meetings that we had and different listening sessions that I was a part of after the protests and the challenges we faced together last year, one of the key pieces of a number of recommendations that were made was it was time for us to hire and bring on a diversity equity inclusion officer to really bring those skills and talent to city government and help us continue to work on the things that we need to do as a city. But more importantly, it's not just, and Faustina can speak to this, it's not just about working within those that work for city government and broadly expanding those opportunities for people to be a part of that, but making sure that people feel connected to City Hall, that the languages that we share in this community are languages that are available to people in the community. And so all of those pieces allowed us to get to a point where we made the decision to both post the job and bring on someone that could help us work on continuing to make our operation and the city as inclusive as we all want it to be.
And for you, Faustina, you've had quite the journey to this position.
Yeah.
UMass, Connecticut, Minnesota, doing all works throughout the country and attending so many conferences. Is it more special that you were able to do this, to be in this position in a place that you grew up?
Absolutely. And Mukala, obviously you and I have known each other since high school, and yeah, it's something that it's humbling, really. Even though I have the experiences and everything, it's humbling to do it in the community you love, the community you grew up in, and that saw you sort of blossom into who I am today. Like Lynn definitely shaped who I am today and shaped my passion for equity. Definitely growing up in a single parent household, having economic disparities and having to navigate a lot of systems growing up really propelled my passion for justice and equity and things that I didn't have growing up. So I took that with me when I left Lynn and went to college, and it sort of I continued to nurture that passion for justice, and that sort of evolved into every position I had. I was always the person being like, how are we thinking about this from an equity lens, or who's not at the table and what voices are missing from this conversation. So it's something that I wasn't expecting. I didn't imagine that Lynn would have a position like this, but I was very glad to see it come to fruition. Luckily with leadership, Mayor McGee's leadership, and also the community really pushing people, pushing government and pushing leaders to really think about having a position like this, it's really wonderful. It's really wonderful that we have people, activists, champions in the community that said we need something like this. It's long overdue. We need somebody that can think about this from a large scale and can really be a bridge from the community to City Hall, which is definitely my intention.
Can you both talk about what has the first of a couple months have been like since being on the position? Can you both just talk about how some of the stuff that you all have been discussing?
Sure. I think I have to say Faustina has hit the ground running. She's been such a great addition, so really excited to work with her. And Michael Cole, who is doing a lot of work on the, we're involved in this REMAP, which is Racial Equity Municipal Action Plan, which we're meeting with other communities. So right away, Faustina came right on to that, and there's been a lot of work going on with people that are on our team as part of the REMAP group, but more importantly with the groups that are putting it together in the other communities and really looking to create tools of engagement for our community. So it's been that was, I think, the right away Faustina was brought right in, and Mike Cole did a tremendous job, but Faustina has stepped right in and with Michael leaving our office, been able to be the leader on that and many other things. But I think that was the first piece. Like right away, we were off and running. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, so for me, definitely agree with that. Being part of REMAP has been wonderful. And then listening into nearby municipalities like Revere and being able to chat with them about what they're doing and how we can sort of support each other. And what are you doing well? What can we be doing better? And really just having those sort of thought partners, because we have neighboring communities that are doing great work and we're also doing great work. So it's like sharing, having like a think tank to share opportunities for bettering our community. And for me, I've been in the role 2 months now. And in these 2 months, I've taken the time to really listen to people in the community. I've been meeting with nonprofits, community leaders from various communities to really understand what are the needs in our very diverse city, right? Because one thing I really like to say, it's like not only are we racially diverse, but we're culturally diverse and also linguistically diverse. And I think in my conversations with the mayor, I've been, thinking about how do we support our community that's sort of changing so fast that it's hard for us to even keep up with it, right? Recently, I met with somebody. She is one of the organizers for the New England Bangladesh Association, and I met with her because the community here from Bangladesh is getting bigger in Lynn, and now she has an office now on Union Street. She comes to Lynn twice a week to help folks in the Bengali speaking community have access to resources in Lynn. So that's another community that is newer to Lynn, but is growing very rapidly. So it's hard, there's so many changes and things happening. So I've been trying to spend time really listening to what's going on, what are the trends, who are our newer communities that are in Lynn, who are the communities that have been here a while. Are they getting what they need? What are the supports? What is it that they're needing from us? Access to resources. And at the center of all of this, what I really am understanding is that language access is a huge concern for Lynners. Being able to go into City Hall and get information in your native language, or have resources, or have somebody that can translate for you, or have documents, like if you're pulling a permit, is it in Spanish, right? Spanish is the majority language in Lynn, and that's also the Latinx community is a majority in Lynn as well. And thinking about how can we make sure when people come into City Hall, they get what they need in their native language, or at least have a resource there that can help them navigate that. And I've been doing some research around like how we can solve that issue. And we've collaboratively been talking about a language engagement specialist initiative. It would be a pilot program where we would have different liaisons from the multiple languages we have in Lynn, and thinking about how we can use those folks to help with oral and written translation in City Hall, and partnering with an organization, a nonprofit, most likely the New American Center, because of their connection to immigrant and refugee families already, who would most likely be using the liaison program to really make sure that people are getting what they need, getting the direct services in their native language, and also helping folks in City Hall with those oral and written translations, so that when you leave, you feel like you were heard, you understood what was told of you, you got about whatever it is that you went there for, and that you felt like it was a good experience, that you felt like you belonged in that building, that your question was answered in a thoughtful way, and sort of those sort of things that make sort of like the difference when we talk about like inclusion. I always like to talk about belonging, that you feel like you're a part of this, and that's essential in a community as diverse as ours, is to make sure that people feel like they belong here, because they are the majority. So you know.
Question I have for both of you. We have this issue, this housing issue. So many people. It's been going on for a while. McGee, can you talk about what kind of role her position plays into finding a way to help those people out that have been having difficulties with housing and trying to find affordable housing, and everything that's been going on with the housing crisis?
I think Faustina now is another resource for us to continue that ongoing discussion about creating. I've been public on it, and I continue to be on the housing production plan, which we went through 15, 16, 18 months of interacting with the community. There was all kinds of outreach that helped create that plan. And again, this plan was created through community input. It came from the city summit we had. That was one of the big takeaways from the city summit. And we've had the MAPC, and we're working through it. So what Faustina's been able to do is continue to ensure that everyone in the community that has an interest in this, across a broad range of ethnic backgrounds and diversity and languages, continue to be updated and informed about what this plan means. And again, it's about finding a balance moving forward for our community as a whole. What's the balanced approach to look at a mixed level of housing options for our community? That's what this plan is about, and it's the first step in a broader discussion that we'll be having. So it's really important to have Faustina and as a part of that, as in her role in the new job. And I think her, as she brought up, the taking a look at other communities like Somerville that does have access to different language, both for translation and writing, making it available for people in our community at City Hall is really important. So that's a piece of it. And so us exploring as a community with Faustina's leadership, looking in that direction is really exciting. And I think building on that, she's also building really strong relationships with all the department heads, with our city employees to help support their work as they see different people coming into City Hall and making sure. And it's been really well received, Faustina, from all of which I know we have a lot of great employees, that she's a real asset to be able to help us ensure that in every department that we can make sure that people know we're accessible, and that the services that we provide for everyone in our community, that those services are in language, the language is available, the writing is available, and people can get and feel welcomed in City Hall. And that's been really embraced and in an exciting way from everybody that's working at City Hall. We see this as a real opportunity to continue to build that connection to our community across a broad range of our diverse population.
For you, Faustina, what has been some of the most, what are suggestions that people have came up to you, or concerns that you've heard from the community about certain issues in the community? What are some of the stuff that the people have came to you to talk about?
Yeah. There's quite a few. I want to say I want to honor the question around housing. I think that's probably up there, probably top 3. And one thing I wanted to add, what Mayor McGee said, was also this remap process that we're going through, that we were, that Mayor McGee mentioned. One of the things we're looking at is affordability in Lynn. So we've been spending this time together, and that group is a very collaborative group. There's some community leaders that are part of that group too. It's not just folks in government. It's also sharing that space with people in the community who are boots on the ground. But one of the things we're looking at is affordability. So I wanted to sort of honor that this group, before I even came on board, has been working over a year to really think about that. So hoping that something is born from that. So housing, right, is a big thing. Language access is another piece where, again, even just going back to this community leader that I spoke to from the Bengali speaking community, she was like, I have concerns about people going to Lynn Community Health Center because of the language barrier, right? They have like a translation line, and she was telling me, she's like, I feel like sometimes those translation lines, it's not a native speaker, right? It's somebody that learned the language and then now they're sort of translating, but sometimes it doesn't land the same because different dialects, right? Even like look at the Latinx diaspora, like all of us talk differently. I'm Dominican, so como yo hablo y habla un salvadoreño is not the same, right? People talk differently, so I think that there's sometimes those disconnects. So I think language access is a big piece to all of this. It's like you can't advocate for yourself. You can't understand what's going on or what the resources are if you're not able to talk in your native language to someone. So I think language access is up there. Housing, language access, and if I had to pick another, it would be like representation in City Hall. And I think that's it's like there's two sides to that coin, right? It's like the representation, but also how do I get informed about job opportunities, and how do I get in those roles, right? So it's also like I want representation, and I want to be that representation in City Hall. And I want to say that under Mayor McGee's leadership, that has gone way better. Working with HR and personnel, I think under Mayor McGee's leadership, there's been a lot of us that have onboarded, a lot of folks of color that have been coming into City Hall and that are excited and want to bring good energy and good leadership and being collaborative. And there's a lot of people who want that too. So I think that as long as we keep moving forward in that direction, I think that that's one of those solutions that we can easily solve along with the language access piece. The housing piece, slowly working on that too, and we have the housing production plan, so getting more buy-in on that. I think the concerns that community members have could be easily resolved as long as we work collaboratively.
And the outlook on City Hall too has seen some changes as well, as you just said about the hiring process. I know there's been more diverse candidates coming into City Hall getting hired. Talked about the arts
and culture planner.
Arts and culture planner. We got the
director of elder services.
Chris Gomez in there. Can you talk a little about that, McGee? Just having those type of people coming in there, and there are people with experience too. It's not just like folks that you just say, okay, let's bring them on just to just to make it look like we're doing it, but these are folks who are qualified and who you guys did extensive background on to get them in those positions.
From the beginning, what I tried to do, and I think we've done a really good job of with Drew Russo as our human resource director. So we really have tried to be, all the jobs are posted, the job opportunities. We want to make sure that throughout the community there's many talented people in the city of Lynn. And then Faustina's talking about it. The challenge has always been engaging, making sure that people know that there's jobs available. The postings have been we've pushed them out so that we can get many people, qualified people, to apply for the jobs. And then by doing that, you have a broader pool of candidates, and you bring in, and you said we've got some really talented, diverse candidates have come on and then been hired because we really have worked hard to ensure that people in our community know these jobs are available, and we want them to apply, and we want to bring the most talented people in. So from day one, it was making sure that every job got posted, including jobs in my office, and that we were able to reach out to so many people in our community and let them know these jobs are available, and that we want to bring those talented people into city government. And it's I think we've been successful in moving the ball forward and moving down, making sure, and we found some really quality and exciting and talented people to come and join the team.
Definitely. Got a few minutes left. What's moving forward? What are some of the other plans that you all have going on for the rest of the year?
Yeah. So I'm on this language access sort of trip. I think that for me, and it really comes from my own lived experience, right? My mom is a Dominican immigrant. I saw her struggle navigating systems and having that language barrier in a very young age. I had to be my mom's translator, right? I had to go to my mom's appointments. Sometimes my mom had to dismiss me early from school to go help her translate for whatever reason, a doctor's appointment, an appointment trying to figure out navigating resources and government assistance. So at a very young age, I had to be that person for my mom, and I think that is very true of a lot of our youth in Lynn, and I want to solve that issue. I want to make sure that kids can be kids, that they don't have to be translators for their parents, that we have that resource already in place so that anyone can go anywhere and get the answers that they need in their native language. That's sort of the long-term game. But short-term, definitely looking at the language engagement specialist initiative that I'm trying to put forth, and Mayor McGee has been really supportive of that. So I'm very thankful for him and his leadership. And just small things, right? Sometimes it doesn't have to be grandiose, right? I'm even thinking about signage in the building. Again, Mayor McGee is totally on board. I want to put the signs in the building in Spanish and English, so we're moving forward with that. So soon you're going to see in the building the signs not only in English but also in Spanish, directing people to the right place. Again, it's sort of those small things that says you belong here, right? We acknowledge that, you know, Spanish is the #1 language in Lynn, and we're going to try to make the effort to let you know that we care about that and that we're thinking about that. So small things, big picture things, those are the things I'm going to be looking at for the long term. But language access right now is at the center of what I'm passionate about, and what from my own lived experience and what I'm hearing from the community, is definitely important and critical right now.
And I just want to follow up on that because it's important. That's where the connection comes, when you can have, you have access to language and written translation as much as verbal translation. It really does show that City Hall is for all of us in our community, and that it really is kind of a welcoming feel. So I think it is an initiative that Faustina's taken on, but really does reflect on what we've tried to do from the beginning, engaging everyone in our community. We're all from Lynn, we all love this community. We chose to live here, and we chose to raise our families here. So we want to make sure that everyone feels connected. And by, I think, working on this language piece, it opens up so many other doors, as you said earlier, job opportunities, investment, private, small businesses that continue to grow, all of those pieces of that make our community a great place, is being able to connect with people in a way that they understand they're part of this, and more importantly, they get the answers to the questions they have in a way that they understand that in their own language.
All right, time has come. Thank you all for all the great information that you gave to the people. I hope everyone learned something. And just lastly, Faustina, if they want to get in contact with you, please give them the email, phone number.
Yes, fcuevas@lynnma.gov. And you can reach my extension 6744. So you can reach me at the main line. But also, I'm available. I'm one of those people. I'm accessible, so you can also call my cell phone or text me 617-304-3068.
All right. You guys have been watching the Lynn Lowdown. Mayor McGee, Faustina Cuevas. Thank you. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.